on your somatic healing and nervous system regulation journey of recovery from conditions like chronic pain, anxiety, panic, gastritis, chronic fatigue, and more neuroplastic symptoms and sensations, it might seem like supplements are the answer. And I'm here to talk to you about that today. There are all kinds of supplements, and there are all kinds of different things that people do with naturopaths and with acupuncture physicians. And I'll tell you why I think they are not going to solve the issue completely, but they may be helpful. So I'm Healing Wolf, a professional neuroplastic trauma, chronic pain, anxiety, and panic coach. I help people walk through the jungle and help them avoid the snakes, help them focus on the butterflies, and get through that jungle, as rough as it may seem, even if it's raining the whole time with lightning bolts and tigers running left and right. We get through it together. So, supplements. On a recovery journey, there are a lot of people who in groups will say, oh, well, I took this supplement. I took, for example, with anxiety, I started taking GABA or rhodiola or some other supplement that St. John's wort that alters your chemistry a little bit and might give you a little bit more calm, or a little bit like GABA is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. And so when I was on my journey, I started taking GABA because they wanted me to take gabapentin, and gabapentin had these weird electric side effects, and I decided that GABA was useful. So it also wasn't the solution. It wasn't what moved my mind and helped me transform into a space where I can have a responsive but not reactive nervous system, and where my fear levels are aligned with the reality around me in the present moment, instead of when I was a kid or when I went through something traumatic in the past. My mind now reads those events in the past as history. They're over. It's almost like I'm seeing them on a screen. It's a movie. I'm having no emotional reaction to it whatsoever. And it's mildly interesting, but not at all provocative to my unconscious mind. So I see people talking about these supplements, and I wanted to make this video about it. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you some of the supplements that I do continue to take to this day, which I find to be helpful. But first of all, supplements are a stepping stone. That's it. Supplements can give you a little more balance, a little more calm, and give your system what it needs to respond to life when you have a mindset that's also aligned. So if your mindset is responding and you've got the supplements in your system, then you're going to have what you need to have those chemical reactions happen seamlessly, easily. For example, if you're taking nitric oxide boosting supplements, right, and you want to go work out, you'll probably get a little more of a boost during your workout. But like citrulline, arginine, I believe, some of these type of supplements, or any other amino acids, but you still have to work out. So it's a great analogy for this mind-body work and this nervous system recovery work, because your nervous system is not going to become regulated just from supplements. It'd be amazing if it is, then maybe things weren't really that imbalanced to begin with for you. If the supplement's all you need, I mean, in terms of your mindset, like your mindset was dialed in. But that's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying here is you still got to go to the gym. You take the supplements, you take the creatine. You can't just sit on the couch. People taking GLP-1s, you can't just sit on the couch. You got to do the work too. And the supplements will help with the work. For example, B12 can give you energy. Vitamin D3 can give you energy. You can have those reactions in your body working well. You can have coenzyme Q10, which can give your mitochondria more energy to get out and do the work. You can have a brain boost from the creatine. You can have some supplements, and some different herbs can give you more neuroplastic receptivity. St. John's wort gives you a boost of serotonin. Now, I'm not here as an herbalist to recommend any of this to you. I'm not prescribing anything. I'm just talking about the reality of you take a supplement or a drug for that matter and expect that to resolve an intense pattern in your unconscious mind, then that's really quite unlikely. Probably happens sometimes, but relatively unlikely. And especially with the clients I work with who are usually going through the worst stages of hell, it's only a little bit of a boost. So it's getting everything in line, everything you can to make your recovery journey as smooth as possible. It's not going to be smooth in general because it's life, and also these conditions give you these surges, these intense sensations, whereas some people think that those are also traumatic, and your work is really to go through as many of those as possible and encourage them to continue, because then they disappear, like a chronic pain flare, for example. So supplements, so we got clear on that. The supplements can help. They can be a little stepping stone to give you a little bit more support. And just like nutritious food, that's going to be another topic of the video, can help your chemistry work better, and especially your brain chemistry as you rewire your brain. But they're not a one and done solution. And so what I encourage you to do is to certainly consult an herbalist, or using your own judgment, decide what supplements might work for you, and then use them until you don't need them anymore. Use them all the time if you find that they boost your overall health. So those are the two categories. You use one as almost like a brace or a muscle shirt. So when some bodybuilders work out, or let's say powerlifters more likely, they wear these really tight compressive shirts so they can get more weight. They can get under more weight, and it gives them just a little bit more of a push, like if they're doing something like bench, or they might wear a weight belt or knee braces or whatever to like some kind of a brace. So they're getting that little bit more support. And certainly they're also taking supplements like creatine. Almost everybody in the gym is taking it these days, which is, according to the research, looks okay. And if you take extra, you get a brain boost. So we want to give ourselves an extra boost, especially when we're down near the bottom and we need it. And then as we get better and better and our mindset gets stronger and stronger, we're going to generate those same effects from our activities, from our lifestyle, from our mind, from engaging in beneficial techniques and processes, and it's all going to become automated. So I promise you that towards the end of the video, I would talk about what I took and some of those supplements that I used and then let go of. And I'm going to do that in a minute. But the other category are supplements that are just great for your general health. You just take them on and on and on. Magnesium is an example. I take magnesium to this day. I take it a couple times a day. And it really helps with a lot of your systems in your body. So just look it up. I could go on and on about it, but it's really helpful. You could take a lot of vitamins that way. B vitamins are helpful, B12 especially. Even if you don't eat much meat, you're not going to get much B12 in your diet. So you got to take it. Even if you do eat meat, you still should take it. So anyway, back to, before I go to what I took, some of the supplements I took and how they helped, and the ones I let go of and the ones I still take, then I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel. Please do that. It helps me on my mission to get as many people as possible out of hell and helps me to build a community. I have a newsletter over at my website, healingwolfcoaching.com. I have a Facebook group called The Healing Den, and I'm building this bigger so that more people will become aware that they can get better using their minds instead of getting lost in the medical system. So please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the bell. And now I'm going to tell you about some of the supplements which really helped me on my journey. One of those supplements I mentioned earlier is called GABA, and it's an inhibitory neurotransmitter. So that means that it calms, it inhibits the other neurotransmitters that are more agitative, more activating. And so I took GABA, especially to sleep. It was really helpful. I also took for sleep valerian. And when I had extreme gastritis, I would take supplements like let's see, deglycerinated licorice was one of the supplements I took for slippery elm for gastric issues. And so those supplements were targeted, and I was on omeprazole at the time and needed to get off. So I used some of the supplements until I no longer needed them, until my system calmed to the point where I said, okay, I don't need GABA anymore to fall asleep. I don't need GABA to take the edge off of anxiety, panic, or any other kind of neurological overload symptoms or sensations. I was locked in fight or flight for so long that GABA just dropped things down a little bit so that I could really do the work, the mindset work. And once I did the mindset work, I let the GABA go. I haven't taken GABA in years. It feels like years. So I also would on occasion take something like St. John's wort. I didn't take it regularly. And there were other supplements that I would take to sleep in particular. And one of them was valerian root. I also took passion flower to sleep. There were a number of them, skullcap, that I took to sleep. There were a bunch of them that were even low dose melatonin, tiny bit of melatonin when things were really difficult. There was a week where I didn't really sleep at all, and it was a challenging week. So I took some of this stuff. I mean, it was really hell. And so then those are some of the supplements that I took, and drop in the comments if you have some other suggestions. I took magnesium, of course, and I still do. And so now I'm going to get to that part where I'm going to tell you about the supplements that I continue to take to this day. And so to this day, I'm taking CoQ10, I'm taking D3 and K2, I'm taking magnesium, I'm taking taurine, which was helpful either physiological or as a placebo with the arrhythmia part of my journey. I phased out of it for a while, then back into it just because I like some of these amino acids. Carnitine, I don't eat much meat. Seafood, very rarely, other meats. So I like to get these other amino acids in supplement form. So I'm taking magnesium in different forms, glycinate, citrate, some of these different forms. And I also got to taking more magnesium when I was going through the arrhythmia phase. So the taurine and the carnitine were also a big part of that. And then also taking fish oil supplements, DHA and EPA supplements. I take some other stuff. I take some nitric oxide boosters. I take some things for a recent injury. You may have seen the video about tearing my knee meniscus. So I'm taking some stuff for that, hyaluronic acid, glucosamine, and chondroitin, even though there's research coming out that can be harmful later in life with cognitive function. So I'm going to take it for a bit and then phase off of it. The goal here is to look at the supplement and say, is this helping me overall? Like vitamin C, a B vitamin, something that's going to give you the nutrients you may not be getting from your diet. I have a pretty great diet, I would say, but I still know I need more of some of these. So I take them. I took ALA alpha lipoic acid quite a bit in my journey as well. I had a pain doctor who recommended that for nerve function. I don't take it as much anymore. I kind of pulse it, sometimes take it. But during the time where he was trying to determine, is this neuroplastic or is it a nerve function issue, he had me taking a lot of it because it really helps with nerve function. So, and the pains that I was experiencing were similar to sciatic nerve issues. So I was taking that quite a bit. All right. I'm not sure if there are other supplements that I haven't mentioned. Basic minerals are good, zinc, copper. Look to a prominent physician who has a lot more of a list on this. Dr. Weil is one that I recommend. He's got a big beard. He's famous for his integrative alternative health institute out west. He's pretty awesome. I really love his books. So check him out. And beyond that, I've got some more videos you can check out. Please subscribe and head to my website, healingwolfcoaching.com. Sign up for my newsletter. I'm releasing new processes via the newsletter, and you get a free download of my most powerful somatic meditation.